I'm an Apple guy. I use my Mac, I use an iPhone. I also like to hike, I like to bike, run, walk, lift weights. If I could, I would smash my Garmin Epix Pro together with my Apple Watch Ultra into one Uber watch because I really do love both of these watches. Let's start with the buttons, which you might not have thought were that important because both watches have buttons, but with the Garmin, you can control 100% of the functionality with them, whereas on the Apple Watch and Apple Watch Ultra, you often need to use the touchscreen to fully interact with an app and get the most out of an app. At the best on the Apple Watch, you can use a combination of them both to do something. Now, the Apple Watch touchscreen is absolutely great when you're in normal everyday life, if you're in a coffee shop or using Apple Pay somewhere, but when you're sweaty, tired after a long workout, maybe even cold with gloves on or out in the rain, the touchscreen can definitely be challenging, especially if the UI elements on there are really small and easy to fat finger. And contrast that with the Garmin watch, which just has a simple button setup that's pretty much the same on every Garmin watch. There's an up and down button on the side, so you kind of go through the pages or the menu items with that. And then you have this button up here, which selects whatever you're on. And then you have this button down here, which backs you out. And that's really 90% of the Garmin menu system. And once you get that, you can kind of navigate through pretty much anything on a Garmin. And the newer Garmin watches even have touchscreen. So you could use both the touchscreen and the buttons if you like. And you can also go in and turn off the touchscreen, whether overall or for specific activities, or you can even just leave it on for the map page where it's the most useful. And I can't stress enough how easy it is to use the Garmin in those conditions, especially if this is a sports watch and you're going out and pushing yourselves. Just being able to sort of operate this on autopilot makes a difference between having to stop and really look and think about what you're doing on the Apple Watch. The screens on both the Epix Pro and the Apple Watch Ultra 2 are great in all kinds of conditions, including bright sunlight. I never had a problem reading either one of them. I'd say overall, though, the Apple Watch Ultra has the edge. The screen just looks a little bit better, and the graphics, especially on the maps, look nicer. I do wish the Garmin had a snappier processor. It's just not on par with what the Apple Watch Ultra 2 offers in terms of the chipset, the speed, the processor. That said, I never had a problem really with the Garmin going through the screens or interacting with it, but there definitely is a difference when you see scrolling up and down, zooming in and out on the Apple Watch versus the Garmin. The Apple Watch with its processor just kicks the butt of the Garmin. But the price you pay for the snappier processor is the battery life. Now, the battery life on the Apple Watch Ultra lasts me usually about 2 days before I have to recharge it. Contrast that with the Epix Pro 51mm, which lasts a week, even with working out every day and maybe a long hike thrown in there. The main practical difference is that for the Apple Watch Ultra, I have to think ahead about charging it, especially if I'm traveling or something. I have to bring the charger with me. With the Apple Watch Ultra, I usually charge it once a week and then I forget about it and I don't have to think about it again. It's just a little bit easier in terms of mental, clutter. What do I have to charge? What do I don't have to charge? I don't really think about it with the Epix at all. One of the things I'd say is a weakness for both of them is that you need a special charger for both of them. I wish one of these watches would come out with just a USB-C charger so that I could charge it with the same cable I use to charge everything else. One of the features I wasn't expecting to like so much, I thought was more of a gimmick, was the flashlight that you'll find on some of the Garmin watches. It's an LED flashlight. It's not a screen flashlight, and it works really well. It's not going to replace my headlamp if I'm going out backpacking or hiking, but it does come in handy in a pinch, and it does kick the butt of the flashlight, which is just a bright screen on the Apple Watch Ultra. Now, the whole operating system of the Garmin revolves around health functionality, and it goes much deeper than the Apple Watch does in general, at least out of the box. It's easy just to go through the widgets and check in on your biomarkers, things like your resting pulse rate, whether your HRV is off, what your sleep score is, what your recommended sleep is, and other neat things like whether you're acclimatized to the altitude or to the heat. I also like the body battery, which is like a fuel level based on all kinds of biomarkers, including your workouts, something that Apple maybe should have come up with on their own. I think that was a very Apple-esque type thing. I've never gotten that below a 5. I've done a rim to rim to rim and really run myself down, but I can get it down to 5. Maybe below that, it means you're dead. I also really like the morning report, which gives you a little brief for the day based on your biomarkers and gives you a recommendation on the type of workout you should do based on those things. Again, something that Apple should have done, but they didn't do. You have to give it a few weeks to get a picture of your health, but once it does, I found it's really accurate and very useful overall. You have similar versions of these things in the Apple ecosystem, but generally you have to go into the app to kind of dig at them and see what them. They're not packaged and presented to you. There is a new app called Vitals, but it doesn't go as deep as the Garmin ecosystem does, where it's looking at all of your workouts as well and giving you recommendations. And the beauty of the Apple ecosystem is that there are third-party apps. And the app that I really like to replicate a lot of this Garmin functionality is one called Athletic. You have to get a subscription to really get the most out of it. It gives you similar information that you'd get from a Whoop band. There's an exertion, there's a recovery, and a sleep score. But I found this works really well and mirrors a lot of what the Garmin watch is telling me. Now, Garmin also has an app store. It's definitely nothing like the Apple App Store. Very small and kind of niche. There are third-party developers, but in general, you don't really need third-party apps to train and get the most out of your Garmin watch. Everything you need is really on there. So let's go in. I'll show you how easy it is to do a workout. You just hit this button and to choose the workout you want to do. There are a ton of workouts in here. Apple also has a lot of workouts, but the Garmin probably has more in here. Once you're in a workout, you can choose to navigate if it's something like a hike or a run. You can also choose a structured workout to do from here. You can do that structured workout or create that on your watch, on your phone, or on the website and send it to your watch. Once you start your workout, you can do all kinds of customizations to these screens, or you can just use them out of the box and they work really well. And one of the nice things about the Garmin apps, these activities, is once you learn how to use the running app, it's the same for the hiking app, pretty much the same for all of them. The strength workouts are a little bit different, but the strength workouts are super simple to use. And again, you can plan that out beforehand on your computer or your phone, push it to the watch, and then when you're actually doing the workout, it'll tell you what to do, so you don't have to keep any notes on what the progression of strength training you're going to do. And you can even put in things like the weight that you're aiming for and the reps that you're aiming for, and modify it if you don't hit it, or just accept it if you do. Super simple to use, and again, once you learn it for one, everything is just easy. The Apple Watch is also a great activity tracker. It comes with a workouts app, which is pretty basic, probably by design. Generally, you're going to want to get a third-party app. The workouts app is nice, but if you want to do a custom workout, you have to define that on the app. It's a little bit clunky. I wish there was a way to do that on the phone or something, but there's great third-party apps, ones like Work Outdoors and Footpath. Those are great for outdoor activities, get you closer to the Garmin experience, including maps and navigation while you do a workout. It's a little bit disjointed because on the Garmin, all of your health information and all of the workouts, it all kind of lives together and gets put into all those calculations that your body battery and things like that use. On the Apple Watch, it all goes into the health app, and then you have to get another app, like I said, like Athletic, which reads from the health app. So it's a little bit more of a setup. And there's just like small annoyances too. For example, on the Garmin watch, you can just set your heart rates up once, or you can override them for certain activities. Maybe swimming, your heart rate's a little bit different. Whereas in the Apple Watch, you have to set your heart rate zones up, in all those different places. So if you have 5 apps, you might have to set your heart rate zones 5 times. And if your maximum heart rate changes, you have to go back and change them all. Not a huge deal, but again, just another thing that you have to do that you don't have to do in order to monitor your health on the Garmin watch. Same kind of thing goes for navigation. If you're doing an activity on the Garmin that requires you follow a course, like a run or a hike, the Garmin just handles it like a champ. All of the routing is built in. It comes preloaded with all the maps for your continent, including trail maps, always offline. You never really have to sync anything unless you're going to a different continent. You can just take it out of the box and the watch can calculate a new route for you. Or you can do it on the phone or the web. And you can even send routes from other systems like AllTrails or Strava right to your watch so you can navigate it. On the Apple Watch Ultra, you have to jump through some hoops in order to downline the offline maps through the third-party app like Work Outdoors or Footpath. Or in the new iOS 18, you'll be able to download through a native app like your maps. If you want to do hiking, they mentioned that. I'll let you know more about this when that comes out. But again, it's just something you have to do. Whereas on the Garmin, it's just already on there. Now, where the Apple Watch kicks the butt of the Garmin is the fact that this is a true smartwatch. It's like a subset of your phone, a miniature version of your phone. And people have done videos, right, where they've ditched their phone and lived off of their Apple Watch using Apple Pay and all these different things. The Garmin does have some apps. You can look at your calendar, the weather. It just doesn't even come close to what you can do on an Apple Watch. Things like just the integration with the whole Apple ecosystem, right? Being offline. This is an Apple Watch Ultra 2, so I have offline Siri on here. That has been a great thing, just adding reminders and notes when I'm out and hiking in the trail or whatever it might be. Do things like Apple Pay. Garmin has Garmin Pay, but you have to put a PIN in. But with Apple Pay, if you have an iPhone already, it's just all integrated, and the setup is just really easy. Things like answering text messages. And of course, if you have LTE service on your Apple Watch, being able to untether from your phone if you want to go for a run and not bring your phone, it's an incredibly powerful tool. You can call 911 from this. This even integrates with satellite SOS. So if you have a crash detection set up or fall detection and it can't dial 911, it will do that through satellite. Those kinds of things make this kind of in a whole other league when it comes to this being a really smart device. But that's also the reason why I ultimately chose to go with my Garmin instead of my Apple Watch. Here's the thing. I don't necessarily need to be untethered from my phone all the time. I might go for, maybe a 10-mile run. And if I do, I'll just bring a hydration pack and I'll have my phone in there. Or if I go for a hike, I have my phone with me. And for a lot of the cases, the Apple Watch just replicates what you can do on your phone. And, it's sometimes the difference between, putting your wrist on Apple Pay or reaching into your pants and taking your phone out and putting your phone on Apple Pay. Just small things like that made it not so important to have all that functionality on my wrist. And I appreciated the fact that the Garmin was simpler and better as a sports watch, better as a tool for my health. And it wasn't just the fact that it was simpler, it was also the fact that the battery lasted longer. I didn't really have to think about charging it so much. And it just worked. I've done crazy long hikes, 30-mile, 29-mile hikes. Here's a 29-miler I did. And with the previous version of the Garmin, and it just works, right? It doesn't accidentally go off. The screen doesn't accidentally get tapped. I don't have to think about the battery for 13 hours of hiking. It just works for the outdoor experiences. It's a better tool for the outdoors, for your health and training. Whereas if you really just want to untether from your phone and have something for that, I think the Apple Watch is probably a better tool for you if you're just being in the Apple ecosystem and living in everyday life and having those health features as extra. If that's not the main focus, the Apple Watch Ultra is going to be better for you. But I think the combination of the Garmin watch with the iPhone or whatever, an Android, is great. And that's what I've been going with. And that's what I'm going to stick with. And of course, when iOS 18 comes out and the new Apple Watch, I will reevaluate this decision and I will get back to you. So subscribe if you want to know about those things. And if you have experiences, if you chose one or the other, leave a comments, because I know a lot of people ask this question. That's why I'm doing this video. And I think the more voices we can have in terms of what worked for you and what your situation was, probably the better for folks who are about to drop a lot of dough on one of these watches. Also, important to note, this is not sponsored. I've bought both of these myself. No one's giving me any money to talk about these. No freebies, no testers. So if you are going to buy one of these, please use my link underneath. I get a little commission, no extra cost to you, but that's how I pay for this channel without doing ads and all that stuff. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have fun out there, and I'll see you out in the trails.